It'll be a big shift. It'll be a big paradigm shift.
But it's a gradual shift.
But I think it is going to happen. I think it is starting to happen. I think it's peaking, that kind of saccharinity of...
It's unbelievable, the amount of content that's out there now that it's just pure saccharin. It's just pure surface layer. Doesn't nourish us in any way.
It's easy.
It's a momentary distraction. It's not even a distraction that you'll pass it around.
It's like we're all kids, like home alone.
Yeah.
We're all kids. The parents aren't there. We can eat what the hell we want for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we're just eating like, F you, mom and dad. We can eat what we want. And you're just eating all the sweets, all the ice cream, all the potato chips and whatever crap is around, junk food, for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And you can keep doing that for a couple of days. But after a couple of days, you're going to feel very ill. And that's what's happening now, is that we're just...
So again, the seed of its own destruction is contained within it. We are going to come to a point of just too fat, or just
can't take it anymore.
Sick and tired.
I'm mad as hell. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, sick and tired of the way things are being done, and I think it's starting to go at that because more and more people are waking up to an alternative way of living and an alternative way, and maybe for a while there'll be split societies where you've alternative communities and people who stay within the mainstream frame of the way things are being done. Maybe that's another possibility, but I think eventually people can only act. A dog can only act for a cat for so long before it has to bark. It has to relieve itself and just feel the relief of being itself. And we are pretending to be something we're not for way too long now, and we just need to.
So people go nuts.
Yes, people go nuts. I mean, more people.
It's a testament to humanity's
to our resilience, really.
That people aren't just going
day after
mad.
day after day, just like putting up with stuff that you don't really.
Like we're literally working. Like people don't talk about this enough because it's just this kind of. We've all agreed upon it, but doesn't anyone think that it's a little odd that out of the 7 days of the week that we have of existence, that 5 of them have to be allocated for work? Like, why can't it? And why can't some of them be work at home? I'm not saying we should just sit around on lilos and do nothing all day long, sipping a champagne, but maybe like a bit of a work-home balance, so that the weekends
completely out of balance.
So the weekends are actually, there's a bit of relaxation.
It's the same with school as well. It's like 5 out of every 7 days, kids are getting up before they're even fully...
Before their brain. If school was for children's actual benefit and to make a smarter society, then we would allow children to sleep until they're actually supposed to. They're supposed to get 11 hours. We'd allow them to have that full sleep so that they can process all the stuff and then wake up refreshed. Mm-hmm. And also we wouldn't shove answers to questions they haven't asked down their throats. And
we wouldn't give them, we wouldn't steal the only free time that they have then when they come home by giving them piles of homework. To me, if you're inspiring people and people are actually learning something from what you're saying, I'm sorry, but it should stick in their heads.
You don't need to,
if it's interesting enough, or if it's relevant enough, or if it's useful enough,
to give homework to children.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
That is so abhorrent. It is, to me, a crime against humanity.
I think that's the way it'll be viewed in the future. It might sound like completely extreme.
The way that schools are run now will be viewed in 100 years' time.
Almost like workhouses.
Like workhouses, yes. Exactly.
Of the future. Like when we look back as an enlightened society, we'll say, well, why were they in there for 5 of every 7 days? That's ridiculous. Why are they there for so long every day?
From age 4 now.
From age 4 or even younger, Francesca, kindergarten and preschool and all this kind of stuff. And not because people are awful, because they have no choice, because they have to go out and earn two wages in order to just keep their heads above water. This is what I'm talking about. You seen the pattern? the madness on top of madness. And then the weekends, kids get extra homework, and then on holidays they also get homework.
Because of, we can't possibly allow the children to have the whole weekend or the whole of Easter holidays.
Like the most precious time of their lives, when they have the most energy, they're the most awake, they're the most innocent, they're the most filled with wonder, and we fill their heads with crap.
With details
that dogma. They don't require.
They don't need.
Like centres of learning, absolutely. Go there for a couple of hours a day and learn about stuff and learn about civilization, how we can better society and how we can actually learn to look after ourselves, become more self-sufficient, growing food, feeding ourselves, real history. Like as I said, geography, knowing about locations and stuff like that. Learning about real science, not being bombarded with like pseudoscience at every turn. Actually learning about real science and the amazing achievements that we have made real in in our society. But the idea of keeping children and all the way up till into adulthood, and then into adulthood, and then into pension, and now we'll extend the age of pension until people are 70 before they can actually retire. So more than likely,
they will be dead
before they have to actually collect their hard-earned offerings to the coffer of their retirement. Guys, per favore.
Ti prego, svegliati ragazzi.
Don't make much sense to me, Francesca. I know I keep saying it, I know I keep dwelling on it, but it just don't make much sense. How can you have children the best years of their life when they're the most inquisitive, the most open, the most beautiful, inside and out, and you stick them in a box, and you sit them down, and you tell them when they can and can't get up, and when they can and can't relieve themselves. A basic human right. Just being able to relieve yourself, and you have to ask someone else's permission to do that.
And then they say no.
Doesn't anyone think that's a little bit strange?
Or to drink water.
Or to drink water, to have a drink, or they're feeling a bit hungry, or they're a little tired and they just don't feel up to school that day. No, you go to school anyway and you learn what you need to learn, because otherwise you'll be in trouble. And it's like, it's the otherwise things, like otherwise you won't be able to get a job. And it's otherwise you won't be able. It's like, yeah, but we're still not thinking it through. We're still not thinking it through to what kind of quality of job, and do we want to have those kind of jobs? And let's call a spade, guys. In 40 years' time, most of the jobs that are available now, with the way the technology is evolving, won't exist. You'll have like computerized doctors and all kinds of things, and it's going to be ridiculous. You're going to have like, why would you pay a lawyer thousands and thousands of dollars where you can just bang, and then let's look up this particular blah blah. What's the legal precedent again? Bang, there you go. Print it out. There we go. It's all going towards that, and I'm not a technophobe, and I'm not afraid of technology, and I'm not afraid of how technology can serve us. But I do not wish, or I don't want any of my children to live in a world where we are slaves to it, where our actions and our thoughts are controlled by technology, and we have to stay within certain parameters of expressing ourselves, where we're censored either with our speech. It's really Orwellian, guys. I mean, is no one else picking up on this? Groupthink and group speech and just newspeak. You're not allowed to say this, you're not allowed to say that. And I completely understand, because there was way too much kind of vicious stuff that was being allowed to be said, and people that were being allowed to be put down and all this kind of stuff, which is not right. But we have to have a balance. We can't swing the pendulum all the way over the other way, where you're not allowed, and then we're removing history, so we can't even learn from our mistakes, or removing certain authors that weren't as up to speed with what's okay to say right now, or not okay to say right now, and deleting them. It's like, no, we need to be able to look back at how we evolved as a species, because if there's no record of our past, then our children will just believe in thinking that this was always the way and there's no other way. That can't be the way. No. You can't be in a society where you think this is it's a brave new world. It's 1984. It's any of those books. It's just, we have to have balance, and we've gone completely out of balance, haven't we?
Well, we've gone out of balance so much, the fact that
we think it's balanced.
But to me, the biggest thing is that when people, like, if people have a bit of, like, they're not kind of so happy with the way something is done, like if you have a little town council, little village council, and it's got 12 people on the village council. Well, if the people on the village council start doing things that the actual village doesn't like,
then they're not really representing their people, are they?
Then after a while, if all of those, and then we actually heard this story. This happened in, I think it was in Kent, but somewhere in southern England, I think. That this happened, and basically, it was to do with the 15-minute cities. That the majority of the village didn't want it. They didn't want to be a test subject for it. And then the people kept going to the council and saying stuff. The council said, I'm sorry, and just giving it this and not doing anything. Because, of course, they were being paid from the government, which is very normal. That would happen. But you can't take money from some place to make other people unhappy. You can't do that.
That's called selling out.
There's something, I'm pretty sure
you do something that you know is morally reprehensible.
No.
And you do it anyway.
That's not cool.
Listen to your
for
conscience.
monetary gain is just madness.
Well, that's the
But that's what
modus operandi, the MO.
This is the world we're living in, and this is what we've been told, is that money is the only thing that matters, and it goes above other human beings, and everyone else is separate to you, and they're all pieces of poop. So it goes in with that. But anyway, in this village, they basically had a village meeting. They said, we're all going to meet in the park to discuss this. And guess what? The park closed down the exact day they were supposed to meet.
They were supposed to have the meeting. They closed the gates. for
like
maintenance.
weeding or something, because like that's just so amazingly important. And
So again, abuse of power.
that was an abuse of power. So then they said, okay, Joe Bloggs or McGregor's Field said he'll have it there. So they went to the field and they had a great time, and they had little stalls, and it was like a little fete, and it was really lovely for the kids, and it was really good energy and good vibes, and they did votes on it, and they did talks, and everybody was like, we do not want this and we do not want that. Now the guys from the council were actually there as well, like, and obviously because they're invited to, going, oh shit. And then they replaced, and they said, well, let's get a new council, and they did this. So I'm kind of saying, okay, that's like a micro version of like a country or government. And in government in any country, I've lived in many, so I'm not,
picking on one over the other.
No, I'm not at all. And if the people, oh, sorry, darling, thank you.
Sorry. Go on. If the people are not happy with the way the government are governing, surely, they should be able to let the government know. Yeah.
The problem is, when the government gets too big...
You can't even do that now.
And it's not this little kind of small village council. When the government gets too big, that becomes really difficult. So you think, okay, how are we going to do this? Well, let's protest. We'll do some kind of march. Very peaceful energy vibe. Not, the looting type. The very nice one. Aww.
It's a ladybird.
It's a ladybird. Bring us some lovely luck. Oh, she's orange. I'm saying she, but she could be a boy.
Yeah, like in Bug's Life.
And we did watch Bug's Life just very recently. It's lovely. Lady luck. So when people protest, when you have the biggest protests that have ever happened in the whole of the globe over the last 3 years, and then you ask people, your normie friends, should we say, people who only watch the news on the television and think that's the only source of news, about the protests, and they don't know anything about them, then they say, well, there is no protest because I haven't heard it on the news, so therefore there can't be a protest. And the government doesn't do anything about the protest. Then what do you do?
Even if the government, the head of government, the centre for government is in the same city where the protest occurred.
Oh no, they did do something. They did a law that you can't protest and hand out flyers to other. This was in England. You can't hand flyers to other people and say, join our protest. You get locked up for that kind of spreading of awareness. So you kind of think, okay, well, if the people aren't happy, they then did the only thing they can do, which is coming out in droves to protest. If that's just kind of turned a blind eye, the old news channels, the broadcasting centres there, which we won't name them, but they just go, I didn't see anything. If they're not even talking about it, or they are and they're saying only a few hundred turned up and they've got a video of some guy and his dog's taking a pee or something, then you have to go, okay, guys, then what power do the people have? Then is the government governing the people? Like, does the government work for the people, or are the people actually working for the... Did he come back?
Yeah.
Or are the people actually working for the government?
Yeah, let's get something straight. What is government?
Like, you're a civil
servant.
servant.
What are civil servants? They're civil servants. So they're supposed to serve civilians, like us. They are, technically, you're their boss. They work for you.
Yep.
So they should have your interests in mind. They should be working on your behalf. They should be making sure that everyone has, as much as possible, a fairly decent quality of life. And if they are upset about something that's affecting their neighbourhood, they should be able to object, and that should be taken into account, and so on, etc. And if the people are being ignored by the people in power, then those people should be removed.
Like what more can people do? They can't do anything.
Yeah.
So basically, in the game of life, the rules are there. You can't break them, and you can't question them, and you can't ask about who made the rules. Oh, he fell down. And you can't ask about who made the rules. I don't want to squash him, so I'm going to move him. Yeah. And come up here. So that doesn't seem very fair to me. I've never played a game like that, and I don't think
that we should all be playing it.
We should all be playing it.
And obviously, I keep harping on about it. I'm like a broken record, but you can't put the cart before the horse. So it has to be in conjunction. It has to be like at the same time as our evolution of consciousness and our levels of the levels of consciousness that we inhabit. So this will actually occur automatically. So that's the good news. The more we do work on this stuff, it'll become automatic, because people will just be too conscious to go, no, I don't want that to be a ruling, and I don't agree with that council. And there's way more of us. And imagine, that's the important point, guys. There's way more of us.
Yeah.
We are the lifeblood of it. We are the lifeblood of it. And our cash, our money and everything is the lifeblood of the system. You withdraw your cash, you withdraw your money, you withdraw power from the system. That's a simple way to protest. But we have to go together, you know, as
People
as one.
don't like, you know, that's the point, is that we don't feel as one. So people don't like to do that because
Yeah, of course. We're deliberately led to
they're
believe that
scared
we're all very separate when we actually aren't. And again, you know, and other suggestions like mini communities and stuff like that, smaller communities, ruling their, you know, calling the shots on whatever's happening, could work in some ways and might not work in other ways. But again, it's putting the cart before the horse, and we can't do that.
no.
So yeah, let's go towards a more conscious society where our behaviours and our needs and our priorities change automatically, because we're seeing more clearly than we were before. Like, technology has gone crazy and evolved this way. Now it's time for our humanity to evolve
Catch up.
and catch up before it's just
Like Einstein
nuts.
said, that lovely quote from
Yeah.
a long time ago.
So yeah, that's kind of. Any other thoughts on that, Francesca?
I don't know. I just basically, it's because some people love the game.
Who loves the game, Francesca?
I think Francine likes the game.
Francine likes the game?
I think she does.
Is she going to regale us in person about her?
Well, she was a bit upset about the light the last time. She
Yes,
tells
I
me.
did get that feeling on it, because there wasn't any smart switches or sensors or
No.
implants. They weren't working. Her implants weren't working
No.
in nature.
No,
So nature automatically then was judged as being
subpar.
subpar. That's the problem with
She
brainwashing.
couldn't have control. This is all this pseudo control that we've got, so we don't have
Yeah.
control over
We feel
ourselves
like gods.
and how we
We can
feel.
just go,
Yeah.
lights.
Light on, hot water.
That kind of stuff, and it's just tricking us. It's robbing us of our inheritance, guys. It's robbing us of our peace. It's robbing us of our fulfillment.
We're trading.
We're trading off these little temporary distractions and titillations.
Temporary shortcuts,
Mm-hmm.
but like the whole point, it's like you go for a a ride on the Orient Express.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it's quite beautiful, and then someone goes, all right guys, we got a new one here, we've got a new rail, which is a shortcut. You're like, why would I take it? The whole point of the Orient Express
Is
is
the
the journey. Like, why would I take a
Experience.
shortcut? So it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. And Francine?
And friends say, well, I don't know. What would
don't
she
know?
say? She'd be like,
It's a game, Jerry.
well, she'd be there saying, well, for her, I suppose
It's the best.
the wheel of life, I was going to say, the game of life is,
Uh-huh.
she probably thinks she's winning.
I'm sure she would. I mean, I don't mind her thinking that she's winning, but I think it's dangerous spreading. See, I don't mind when any one person is thinking, like, you know, maybe is deluded enough to thinking that, you know, this'll do for me, you know. But don't be imposing on other people in more
That's
work.
it, I suppose, is we're so fearful in our decisions and our choices that we then want everyone else to agree with us, so we feel more
Secure in our
I got
decisions.
bitten.
What did you?
I didn't mean to squash you, Mr. Ant, but he bit me. Auntie bit me. He's gone.
Yeah.
And yeah. And cut.
How are we doing for battery? Technical guy.
All right. So,
All right.
so I'll have some tea.
Have some more tea. Yes.
Is there any left?
I think we're nearly out.
Do you
Yeah.
want some?
That's it. Thank you. Cheers, Francesca.
Cheers, my doll.
Anything you want us to talk about, just stick them in the comments.
Yeah, thanks for your comments, guys. We've had
Thank
some
you.
really great ones. And yeah, the game of life, man. How's it working out? Yeah, and what game would you like to play instead? Or no game at all, and we just live our lives. How about that? Why does it have to be a game?
Yeah, yeah.
Can't
People
life itself be game enough? Be
People are
fun
afraid
enough?
that if we remove all the, let's say, the carrots and the sticks and all that kind of stuff, that we won't know what to do. And it's like, our ancestors didn't have carrots and sticks, guys. Well, of course they had physical
Yes.
carrots and sticks, but they didn't have like this distraction, and they didn't have come this way and these bright colors and things shaking, and you know, like, oh, this is pretty, look over here. And yet we're still here.
It's because we're not focused and centered in ourselves that we can get distracted so easily.
Yeah.
Because we're not actually focused on ourselves, we're focused everywhere else except for ourselves.
Yeah, so we're focused on our environment, making sure it won't hurt us.
Yeah, we're focused out instead of in. Like, for
You don't have to spend all the time in, obviously,
No,
but a little bit
but at least have
would
your
improve your
footing
life.
from inside,
Yeah.
so then you'll have a better footing. And
You have your two brains instead of one.
yes, exactly.
Go on.
No, but just when you're focused on something, everything else kind of just blurs out, doesn't it? So if
Yeah.
you're focused on that book,
Yeah, no, there's a nice little phrase here. Maybe you should say 3 lines. Just do it there. That I think it's kind of like we're talking about a little bit.
all right.
It's kind of. This is today's one, by the way. The entry.